Involve them. They're thinking. They're smart. Involve them in what went right, what went wrong. What could we have done better? Don't be afraid of that. It also happens by delegation. Delegate to the young people. Give them a responsibility. Don't chew it up for them. Give them the responsibility and let them work on it. Hey, listen, you're going to be contacting the soup kitchen where we're going to do this event, and you're going to make sure that everything's set up, okay? All right, thanks, little Ruthie. You do that, all right? Are you with me? Train and equip them. One is to delegate, is to give them a responsibility. The other thing is to train and equip them. Give them the meeting with us as we're planning things. Okay? They're volunteering, you're asking for it, and you're giving them the opportunity. You're actually giving them the opportunity to do the things. That's what those pictures are. I'm sorry about the colors. I didn't have time to work on that. But that's what it looks like. Do you want to know what it looks like? That's it right there. That's it right there. Second goal, pass on the legacy. Pass on the legacy. What does that mean? That means prepare your replacement. Prepare your replacement. This ministry is not about you.
Amen.
It is not about you.
Amen.
I don't own the youth department. Neither does Pastor Hines. Neither of us do. We're only here for a small time. And so are you. Prepare your replacement. Teach them everything that you know. Teach other leaders all you know. Don't keep any tricks in your pocket. And think, oh, well, I'm not going to teach them that. You know, that's kind of my secret. No, I kind of get the, you know, the donated bagels or the free stuff and how I come up with reasons. Don't keep that stuff to yourself. Because if not, you're crippling the ministry. And I'll tell you what, we need some consistent workers. And then when it's time for something to change, prepare them to succeed. Prepare them to succeed. 4 to 5 churches, young adult churches, within this conference in 10 years. 4 to 5 young adult churches in this conference within 10 years. Let me talk to you a little bit about that. We see that as one young adult church per federation. One young adult church per federation. Let me talk to you about that because that's a little bit, it's a little bit of a hot topic. Because some churches can feel you're taking our young adults away. Let me be real with you. Pastor Hines and myself are seamless on this. We are together. If the young adults are in their church and their needs are being met and they are actively a part of a ministry and they are so enthralled and connected with Jesus, thank you. We don't want them. We don't want them. They're already connected to the mission. And we used to sell food. And we had to come across a way of measuring growth to find out if each day was a success or not. It wasn't a success for us or for her to cook the food. It was a success if people came and bought the food. Do you understand? Because that food, it had to taste good enough for people to translate and say, I'm willing to pay some money for that. The same thing with our youth ministry. We need to make sure that when we're talking about ministry, we change our vocabulary and make it measurable growth. What does that mean? That means that if we're doing a yearly event, how many came out? How many people came out this year as opposed to last year? How many youth of our church led out in the activity? That's exactly what we wanted to hear. That's exactly what we wanted to hear. Because you know who we want to go on that mission trip? Everybody in this room. Okay? Everybody in this room. That counts you too, Whitford. I'm sorry, you in the room, you count. All right. We need a mission trip to DR. Already things are being set up. This is wonderful. I appreciate, again, Pastor Hines' leadership. When I was coming here, that was obvious to me. One of the areas that this conference needs to grow in is a mission trip. So I come in here with that desire in my heart, and my associate here already has the dream about how to do it. Amen. And he says, you know what? I got an idea. Why don't we have the leaders go this year, and the following year, all the leaders are already informed about what's going on over there. And guess what? We can tell them, hey, it's going to be this and this and this. You got to come. You got to come. And then we're going to have this massive influx of young people going to DR for a mission trip the following year. What does that mean? That means you need to start putting some money aside. That's exactly why we told you, because we are not going to accept. You know why we had you sign in? So that way you don't have an excuse. That's exactly why we had you sign in. So that when we call you and say, hey, the important thing that is coming out of the youth department is the impact projects. Amen. Let me explain why I say that so dogmatically. Okay? The impact projects affect so many parts of our church. It affects the pastors who are now forced to work together in one area and to continue to talk about what projects they're going to bring to the table that are going to be diverse and not be stepping onto each other. It forces them to come together to win together. It forces youth leaders who typically may not talk to each other to talk to each other. It brings young people together to get training at the boot camp. It sends them out on the mission trip when they're training other young people. Are you with me? It builds us up. And then following that, we've got this wonderful evangelism that's going to take place. That's already being planned. That's why Whitford Shaw is here today. Your church, your youth, for your church needs a plan. It's almost like I'm so thankful that the Lord led me to study business for my master's. Because a business that's going to succeed is going to have a business plan. This is what we feel we are good at. And this is what we're going to do. And we're just going to focus on this. We can't focus on everything, but we can focus on this thing. Our church is good at that. Our youth are interested in doing that. Do that! Do that with all your might. Have a plan for your ministry. Have those goals. Each area using distinctive methods. We're not telling you how to do ministry in your church. We're just saying you need to have a plan. And your plan could be different from this church that's just right down the street. That's not a problem. All work has measurable results. All work has measurable results. That's exactly what we need. Your work, you need to be able to say, were we successful at this? Were we not? Easy to verbalize your strategy. See, when you have a plan, you can then sit here and say, hey, listen, brother, what's your name? Thomas, you want to join my ministry team from what we're doing at my church? You know what you're going to say? What do you do? Isn't that what you're going to say? What do you do? Let me tell you what we're doing. Within 5 minutes, I should be able to tell you what our plan is. So that way, Thomas, you know what you're signing up for. We're going to be leaders that pass on the legacy. We're not trying to hoard control. We're trying to give control so that other people can be involved. Young adult churches, one per area, one per federation area. Grow public campus ministries. Spiritual growth measurements. Everything is going to be, how do we measure? How do we measure success? Mission trip to Dominican Republic this year. Multiple impact projects. That's where we're going to be heading. Whatever our budget is going to eventually be distributed so that each area has those funds. And what methods we've used, we're going to pass that on. And also, youth evangelism success. I've got a question. Do you think that this is a good direction to go?
Amen.
Okay? I hope that you're taking a good look at this, because these are going to change very little. You're going to see these over and over again. We're going to talk about these words again next year. We're going to see if we're getting there. Do you understand? These are around here to stay. That's where we're headed. We're going to be presenting this to the executive committee coming up at the next meeting, because we want them to know what to expect.